What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the garage. Welcome back to another Thursday night, which means welcome back to another episode of In Tune with the Garage. We've got a crowd building up already, a lot of familiar faces. As always, I want to thank everybody for stopping by as usual. And John, yes, your decals went out a couple days ago, so they should be on the way. That being said, as always, I want to thank all the new subscribers out there, all the new patrons. In fact, we've got a few new patrons. Didn't have any new ones last week. This week we've got Chad, Matt, Trevor, Andy, and Richard. Welcome to the garage, you guys. Hopefully some of you will show up tonight in the chat. If you are in the chat already, introduce yourself as a new patron so everybody can say, hey, what's going on? And if you're interested in the Patreon, jump on over to the website, www.goatropegarage.com. There's a link right there at the top. So, may have gotten a hair in my mouth. I'm covered with dog hairs. What do you guys think about the new hoodie? Glad to hear it, Nick. I've been working on the audio, trying to get everything, all the levels sorted out. Everything sounding good. And that is part of the reason why I did not put the podcast up last week, amongst other things, because it was kind of a train wreck. Train wreck it was. We were all over the places. I may have had one too many beers to drink last weekend, or at least last Thursday. So it was it was a good time though. It was a good time. Thank you, Racing. I did get a haircut recently. Hey, Matt, what's going on? Gio, what is going on, brother? Good to see you again. We got Nick as usual. Russ is back. Jeff H, Nick, One Fast Daddy, Frank, Nicholas, Hillary, Zero, VJ, John, Lathan. Good to see you again. And if I missed anybody else, what's going on? Burley's here. Good to see him again. Yeah, man, it's so soft on the inside. The inside of these things are really, really soft. Yes, Nicholas D says, no more LT1 false knock. And actually it was Nick and Sean, the two Camaros, checking things out. We were chasing down some false knock. And Sean stumbled across a table that looked like it was causing the issue where there's some static knock, which surprisingly enough, I went back and looked at some of the other Gen 5 platforms, in particular the L83s and L86s, and they do not, those tables are zeroed out. So that is why you're not seeing it on some of the truck platforms. But the cars, the LT1, LT4s, apparently, and what it's doing on that is this table is trying to preemptively stop knock per cylinder. And so there are some cylinders where it will advance it. It is called the static knock table. Let me open up a log here so I can tell you exactly. Make sure I'm telling you the right thing. Boop, 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 boop. Here we go. Spark. Underneath the retard tab, it is static retard versus cylinder. And it is a table. Let's jump over the tune screen here. We want this one. Boom. This table right here. So if you come up underneath your retard table, you have all the way over here on the side a static retard versus cylinder. And if you take a look at this table, as you can see, specifically on cylinder 0, 3, 4, this is retard. The others are actually advanced. So where you see 2s on here, it is retarding 2 degrees. But there's no real reason to be running this anyways. As I said, all the other platforms, this is zeroed out. Part of the reason being that cylinder 2 and cylinder 4 are the ones that are closest to the knock sensors. I know 4 is the passenger side, and 2, I believe, is the driver side knock sensor. Those are the two cylinders that are closest to the knock sensor. And counterintuitive, but nonetheless, zeroing this out has gotten rid of this false knock. And you can go through looking at all this crap. Doesn't matter what you do, the knock comes back. You can take 10 degrees out. You can put, running on E85, doesn't matter. E85 doesn't really get a lot of knock on there. So, Bill, what's going on? It's good to see you here early. Dennis, we were just talking about the some false knock on the Gen 5 cars. Hey, Ross. Thanks for helping out on the VE tuning. Awesome. Yeah, if you've got math and VE done now, it's time to do spark timing. And, pretty straightforward, especially on your platform. So just keep your ear to the ground. Make sure you're not getting into any knock. I want to do some stuff here soon on specifically using knock sensors, not the factory ones, but aftermarket knock sensors for, in particularly, boosted applications, because that's where it is more critical. But we won't get too far out there. Brian Thomas, scaling ID 1300 injectors for an E38 with the 127 pound per hour limit, double stoic, half IFR, and IVT. I don't think you actually have to do the IVT, do you? Intake valve temp. I know you have to do the IFR. Maybe I'm thinking of the E40s you don't have to do IVT on, Brian. But for some reason, I think it was just the double stoic half IFR. Well, and it may be. It may be, Brian, because as I said, I know on the E40s, you only have to double stoic and half your IFR and you're good. Then if you get into the later generations, there's some. Just be aware that it can do some wonky stuff with your air mass calculations. So keep an eye on that. Watch your wideband and just make sure you don't have any kind of weird lean spots showing up. Nick says, I'm still seeing higher torque than commanded. Is this driver demand, or maybe I need to work on the torque table? Higher torque than commanded is probably at this point in time your torque table, but you can compare it to your driver demand. Driver demand, though, you can exceed the torque values on that. As I said, for some reason, that doesn't always line up as a one-for-one torque value like it does on some of the other ones. Gio says he's ready to do spark tuning on the truck. Excited. Well, I'm excited for you, Gio. That's a pretty sweet truck. Glad that you're getting all that sorted out. Zero Factor X. What causes an idle surge when running E85? That's an interesting question, Mike. I would have to look specifically at that platform and try and figure out, because you really shouldn't have any idle surge on E85 if you're not having it on standard pump gas, because we are commanding based off of the alcohol sensor the amount of fuel. It's lambda either way, but that being said, the airflow, which is how we're going to be tuning on your platform for idle, is still going to be the same amount of airflow. So, have you changed from MAF to speed density or vice versa recently? Let me ask you that. Nick, on your torque stuff, is it worth chasing? Yeah, it will be. And you're just getting to that point where we need to get your timing dialed in. Then after that, we can start looking at your torque and seeing where it's at. Hey, Dirt Floor, thank you for showing up again, brother. Our official Dirt Floor moderator is here, so if you guys start talking crap now, he's going to shut you down. Brian, or Mechanic 21, thank you, sir. 2000 Camaro. I was looking at some 2000 Camaros today. What all of you got done to your 2000 Camaro? John says, shh, it's the cops. Dirt Floor is the cops. I wonder if I could change that wrench to a pair of handcuffs. And I did not set that wrench. He's a moderator. It just makes it a wrench for some reason because he is a moderator, but it works out nicely for the garage. I finished another book today. It was the 15 cars for that shaped America. Real good book. I've got a copy of it. I will be giving out to the patrons. So if you're interested in a chance of winning that, check out the Patreon. In fact, tomorrow we will be doing the drawing for the Bob Lutz book, Car Guys versus Bean Counters. Really interesting book. Bob Lutz was the guy that came in about the time that Pontiac came out with the Aztec, and they were going through, GM was going through the bankruptcy stuff, and he was part of the plan that brought everything back around. Dirt Floor, it was not on the list, but it was talked about. But Bob Lutz is part of the reason that we got the new Camaros, the Australian cars in America, stuff like that. So pretty interesting read. And as I said, we're giving that book away to the patrons tomorrow. What were you looking at on an LT1, Gio? Just the engine? You going to do a swap? Zero says, no, it's all the same speed density, but all the fuel trims are turned on now, and the only difference went E85 this time around. Did you reset your fuel trims, Zero? Because that could be throwing you off. Hey, Michael, welcome back, man. We're still probably leaning more towards a GTO, I think. Racing says, have you ever had an issue where you can dial in MAF at idle with a cam and long tubes, but fuel trims want to keep adding fuel even after you add air in the tables with VE? Racing, that is probably an issue with your sensors. If you're dialed in with are you dialing it in with a wideband, I'm assuming, or else the fuel trims would not want to keep adding fuel. Straight dumb, got the truck tuned. Getting these big surges in TPS when keeping the pedal steady. TPS goes from 30 to 50 to 30 while at 25. Any ideas on what I can adjust? Straight dumb, how aggressive is your driver demand table? Because it sounds like your driver demand table is too aggressive down in that lower range. And that's the thing that I talk about, where it jumps around as it pops from cell to cell. John, maybe the Aztec should be our next project car. Should we do a Pontiac Aztec? I know, Boosted. That's my problem also. Winter is here. I'm waiting on my bonus too. There's still some cold months around here. It starts snowing today. Hey, 325, welcome back. Geo, Corvette VVE table, looked at it in 3D graph. It looks weird. Yeah! There's some weird stuff going on there. Well, they're supposed to be smooth, but they're not necessarily smooth. You have to realize, though, that the VVE table, that where it starts getting wonky, is probably where you're going into high speed mode. So you're in MAF only in that area, most likely. Racing, so you were dialing it in with fuel trims at idle. And want to keep adding fuel even after you add air in the tables. Well, I mean, the fuel trims, you're saying, are you resetting the fuel trims after you add to your VE table, Racing? Straight dumb, OEM driver demand table. That's interesting. Big surges in TPS. You've got to have some torque stuff going on somewhere. I would have to look at it straight dumb. Something would stick out, but you've got something wonky on the torque somewhere. If you're getting surges where the TPS is jumping from 30 to 50 while your pedal is being stable, you've got an issue. Is zero, are you not on flex fuel? Yeah, I was about to say, you're on flex fuel, so that shouldn't be an issue. Chevy Citation. What the hell's a Citation? Yes. No Roadmasters. Nick says a guy, family friend with an 82 Monte Carlo LS swap with the 2013 L99 Cadillac who is having issues with the tuner, car won't start. Does anyone have a test file to test? Heads, cams. Is it just heads and cams, Nick? Because with a heads cam car, it should still somewhat try and start and run on a stock tune. Yeah, straight dumb. That's probably your best bet, man, so we can get you sorted out. As much as I hate to pimp my own Patreon. But that's the easiest way. What's going on, Blue Fox? Welcome back. The aftermath of a Chevette that's front wheel drive. No, man. No. The 80s Gremlin. Is that why I don't know it? Hold on, I'll look one up. Chevy Citation. It sounds familiar. I'm going to recognize it as soon as I pull it up. Were they really boxy? Oh, yeah. Yeah, with that bubble back. That's sexy. That's sexy. I got a Vega in the family already. They're saying the tune is locked, most likely, Nick. You need to get a file and overwrite the whole thing. You need to find a file that you can do a full write on. The X11 Citation, they made a performance version of that thing. That's scary. Oh, yeah. Well, it's got like 15-inch rims on it. That two-door sexy, though. For $4,000. Oh, it's on a nice price or crack pipe. Panteras. What'd I miss? Gen 1 at CTSV. Man, you guys are going crazy. Yeah, Nick, try and find a a factory tune for that year, make, and model, a stock one, and then you'll have to do a full ride on it to get rid of the lock tune in there. Give that a shot. Let me know if it doesn't mean. Yeah, a decal kit. Is that what got all the extra horsepower from? Zero. I have a 62 Corvette in Oklahoma. VCT table zeroed out. VCT. What's the VCT table? See you, Scuba. Have a good one. Oh, you talking about virtual timing? Your cam? Dude, an LS swap on Eagle Talon would be awesome, John. I agree with you there. I like that platform. Both the first and second gen. Honestly, though, instead of an Eagle Talon, I'd probably do a second gen RX-7. I think they're a better looking car. Dude, Dirt Floor, those two-door AMC Spirits are getting pretty expensive. Chevy Love. Brandon, did you know the Chevy Love, what was it? Those were a rebranded Isuzu. Whenever the Chevy Love pickup came out, there was what was called the chicken tax that the chicken tariffs that put tariffs on trucks being imported into the United States. Yeah, 325 Sonoma. I had a 944 that I loved. Loved that car. The Chevy Love was one of them. 325. I'm getting distracted. Oh, yeah, the Chevy Love, the chicken tariffs. And so what they would do is they would take the parts off of the truck and send it. Yeah, it is a Isuzu, and they would send it over in pieces and then have it assembled here to get around the tariffs. No, it was a Isuzu for the Chevy. Nissan they were brought in under another brand. I can't remember who imported Nissans at the time. Let's see. Jeremy says, wow, VVE tuning, I can copy my histogram. Add it by a half percentage of my VVE. Everything looks good until I calibrate coefficients. Okay, that is a zone issue, Jeremy. And this is your most common issue that you're going to run into on virtual volumetric efficiency. Let me find the link to the zone video that'll give you some insight as to how to kind of solve that stuff. Give me a second here. Do I have Harry Potter earrings on my store, Nick? My wife's been saving stuff to the Goat Rope Garage list instead of hers. Most likely. I'll need to go check that out. That's hilarious. Here we go. Here's the video. Sorry if you guys get blasted by some noise. I'm going to try and grab the link off this for... Here, yeah, link. Copy. Okay, Jeremy, check this video out. This is for the zone stuff. 88 RX-7 VJ, that's what I'm talking about. 95 Firebird, 92 300ZX, man. Those are all good ones to do. Yeah, dirt floor, that's a very big issue about getting AMC parts, man. I had a 94 RX-7 and I loved it. I shouldn't have gotten rid of it. I sold it to a guy in Kansas. He LS swapped it. Burley, that's going to be my story, man. Yeah, thanks for the heads up on that, Nick. Yeah, Jeff, that LS from, what is that, the LS4? The LS4 that they can stick in the Fieros? We've got some Fieros floating around somewhere back in Oklahoma, too. Jeremy, just make sure that you're interpolating outside of that area too. So if you're going in between the good values, then you need to blend out beyond those, because if you have any VVE breakpoints, zone breakpoints that you do not properly cross over and smooth out, it will cause your calculations to go crazy and jack things up. So it is a art form. No, Racing, I'm in Pittsburgh. I'm from Oklahoma. VJ, that RX-7 isn't a convertible, is it? Hardtop? Or coupe? Sean says, when collecting logs, is it better to have one 30-minute log or three 10-minute logs? Is there a point where you can log too much or too long? Yeah, you know, depending on what you're doing, Sean. For things like timing and mass airflow, shorter logs usually work. Things for like volumetric efficiency, the more data that you can get, the better off that it generally is. Brandon, I don't have any insight on swap mounts. Hey Josh, welcome back, brother. Enid, I'm from Enid originally. Really? A G6 transmission with an LSV8. Very interesting. Yeah, we don't need any of that 405 stuff. It's all about the 580, right? That would be scary, man. A Fiero with an LS in it. Whew. No, Nick, well, yes. No and yes. Should not really. Your timing changing is all going to be accounted for. It's all going to be torque based. You're not going to necessarily get bad data. You might get some transitional data issues, but you can filter that out pretty easy. Probably something that we need to do is do a video on filtering out shift data. Nice. I'm jealous, man. I'd love to have a second gen RX-7 sitting around the house. Dan Golf 944 Turbo is the first car I tuned. I would do that car with an LS swap. That would be a cool LS swap. I don't know. You might have a hard time getting a LS in there because of the height of the engine bay. Because those horizontal fours, well, I guess they weren't horizontal. Those were cockeyes, weren't they? Those slant angles with the balancer shafts in them. Yeah, it's all right, Zero. We won't hate you for it. Good to know, John. Good to know. Yeah, Frank, you can. That's. I'm guessing that you're talking about. You said should I zero out the predicted knock return or knock retard table? Are you talking about your? Oh, what the hell? I'm drawing a blank. Burst knock, right? You can get rid of your burst knock. I like Dirty Dingo. I've got Dirty Dingo shock mount. No, is it Dirty Dingo shock mounts that I'm running? I think so. Well, Sean, you and Nick both. I've got another guy. I've got a guy down in Cuba that I need to talk to that's having Puerto Rico that's having the same issue. Really? I'll have to look that up, Dan Golf. Renegade Hybrids has a 944 LS swap. I would think that it would just be pretty close to hitting the hood on that. Nick asked, can I adjust traction control sensitivity on my G8 for fine-tuning how it hooks on the street? You can, Nick. There is a table in particular underneath torque management for TCS that has a max torque. The problem being is I'm not 100% sure how the table holds on after a certain point. You would have to play around with that value, but theoretically, you could adjust that out and see if that works for you. Burley, I don't think that they are all the same on the Gen 3s. What are you doing for your controller, for a MAF sensor for the Gen 3? Because that's probably going to be what it is more than anything. Nick says, I went back stock knock sensitivity. If you see the last log, I believe it shows cylinder 2 and 4 with brief knock, but goes away. And that's going to be real knock this time, Nick. So you're going to have to pay attention to where that is in the curve, but you can probably dial up the strong in the higher RPMs with some more knock, because last I remember your knock was a little, or your timing was a little bit low out there. So what did I miss out on, John? Who's being a creep? I don't probably want to know. Oh. Nah, I don't care. Could be the case, Nick. VJ says, on the Gen 5 trucks, can you tune on the stability? Tune on. Yes. Yeah. VJ, stability control kicks back on around 35 miles an hour, if I'm not mistaken. Traction control will stay off the entire time. StabiliTrak. There is a harness out there that somebody built. I have a link for it. Remind me later, and I will post it over on the Patreon, to a plug-in harness that's like $110 that is StabiliTrak control disable, and it plugs into, they've got this cool little thing that goes in one of these cigarette lighter holes if you've got the center console, yada, yada, yada. I've been meaning to dive into it myself. I just not gotten around to doing it. What's up, PCM Cobra? Good to see you, brother. No, I'm talking, Burley, I'm talking about which ECM you're going to be using. So the type of MAF that you're using on a Gen 3 may dictate the ECM. So that's going to, buy the ECM, so that's going to be what you want to look at. Because if I'm not mistaken, there might have been a couple part numbers on the early Gen 3 stuff. Dan Golf, I'm not sure about that. That is interesting. Knock sensor on a Jeep Cherokee jumps from 7.5 to 120. Because it's not voltage. Maybe this one's reading in on frequency or something. Yeah, VJ, that's something to look into. It kills me because I have issues with cornering. My truck doesn't like how quick it can corner, so it gives me fits. E85 Boost Bear, E85 cold starts, Gen 5 E78, little Chevy Spark with turbo. Gotta find some good videos to search for them. Just any tips. There is a specific cold start table in there, Boosted, that you need to probably look at. Can you tell if it is going rich or lean, though? You probably just need to adjust your cold start cranking VE, and then there's an air temp multiplier table. If you were, and this is not yours, Boosted Bear, but to give you an idea, there is cranking VE, which is just going to be, on this particular one, it is a percentage of your VE table. So if yours is set up that way, pay attention to your air temp multiplier. What the hell? This is an interesting table. What am I looking at? This is an E92. That's interesting. Why is this air temp multiplier in... it's like backwards. That's interesting. But there should be something like that you can look at, Boosted, that will give you some insight as to why, or something that you can play around with to try and get your fueling specifically for the cold start. Because I'm guessing once it gets up and running, after a couple seconds, everything runs fine. Burley, you got 2000. You got PO1s. Yeah, exactly. Find a math sensor for PO1 ECM or one of the platforms that's on that, just to be safe, Burley. SBC 86. Why would my Gen 5 truck leave harder from the stoplight at 3/4 throttle versus wide open? Torque management. Because at 3/4 you are probably applying an amount of torque that is not ticking off things like traction control, whereas at wide open you're getting into something that is probably TCS or something like that is trying to pull timing to keep you from hauling. Okay, cool, man. That's Boosted. That stuff just takes time. You have to tinker around with it, as you said. Because there's no surefire way, especially because you can't really get you can't really do histograms versus cranking, because if you're running a wideband, like closed loop is not enabled during cranking. Usually, if it's a cold engine, it waits 30 to 45 seconds. JT Espinoza, what is your platform that you need a video on false knock for? But yeah, you just play around with the Boosted. Nick says, if you could, what are the low, medium, high size of timing for the LT1s? I'm seeing 24 to 25. Yeah. You could probably... Well, that's a big, large question, Nick. We need to do a new timing video out on that, but you can look at your MBT, see what that is. That's the high side. What's up, 92? Good to see you again. Hey, David. Man, people just flooding in here all of a sudden. E38, ECM, false knock, Gen 4. Okay, I'll do a video on it. Give me a week or so, because we've been talking a lot about false knock, so we just need to do a video on identifying false knock properly. And then after that, we'll get into it. Rick's Performance asks, how does a PCM calculate torque? Rick, it calculates it off of cylinder air mass. So if your air mass calculations are incorrect, your torque is incorrect. So whether or not you are in mass airflow or volumetric efficiency, the air mass is then plugged in. And that's what gets you into the torque. It's all math. David, I know, man. I know. I need to get a VVT video out. You want a quick VVT video? I'll give you the quick VVT video here. Camshaft. Let's open it up. This is I'm not throwing a disclaimer out here, but... Hey, Chevy. What's going on? No problems, man. Here it is. Desired angle. Well, you don't want it to look like that. I mean, it could look like that. Okay, this looks better. Here, I'm tuning VVT for you right now. VVT tuning live on TV. Boom! I have VVT tuned this vehicle. Copy and paste. Make sure that the highs, paste it in there. Boo, 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 boo. VVT is officially tuned on this 2018 Camaro. Did you catch all that? Thanks, man. Love it. Oh, it feels so good. Feels so good. JT, I do not know of any other repositories besides ASP tuners. You can find random tunes out there, but be careful, man. Dirt Floor, he was here last week. He popped in for a little bit, but I haven't heard from him since he was working on his fuel pump setup. So, yeah, okay. Smith Tuning 2005 GTO with headers cam intake, has oscillating idle for about 25 seconds. Yeah. I mean, is it the 25 seconds right after startup, Smith, or is it just randomly it will go into oscillating idle? You're on the right track. You need to lower the numbers on your proportional and integral idle side, and then also look at your airflow, because if you're oscillating, your base idle airflow is probably off. So if your airflow is dialed in properly, proportional integral doesn't have to do anything. You can zero those tables out and it will idle perfectly fine. So keep that in mind. Hey, John, tell your boss hi. Tell him to get into tuning. 325 Sonoma says, I saw a table on my GM4 4.2 2008 Envoy ECM the other day. This vehicle doesn't have an E85 sensor, but the table says it could be selected as virtual. How does that work? I have no clue. 325 Sonoma. I have no clue. That's something that I do not know about. What the virtual crap, you don't have the option to set it to sensor though. There's specific ECMs that don't have the virtual option. Then there's some that have both the sensor disabled and virtual. So David, are you on a dual cam setup that you're talking about exhaust? Because if you're on a dual cam, you can do it the same way. And you will, I don't know this is important on the dual cam setup stuff. It's the intake cam that will cause some weird hesitation. Nick, you gotta be killing me, man. Or kidding me. Yeah, Smith, look at your airflow tuning. Make sure that your airflow's dialed in properly. Try bumping it up 5 or 10%. See if it gets better or worse. And if it gets worse, go the opposite direction. There you go, John. It's a good boss. How far off is the audio lagging behind? Has it been doing it the whole time, or is it just... I don't know if I can hear it. It's 2 seconds? 2 seconds behind? Yeah, it's probably nothing I can do about that without shutting down the whole stream here, so... Hold on a second. Let me try switching around here. Doob 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 doo. I am on 1 gigabit fiber Ethernet. What's up, TJ? Yes, yes. It's all the movies going on in the background. Yeah, sorry guys. This is not an exact science, unfortunately. And partially it's probably because I have it on low latency mode, so I can see. Yeah, well, there you go. Ryan says watch it on your phone. You guys are killing me. Chevy for Life says he watched my tuning video, put 50 degrees all the way across the board like I had, and went to the race and blew my motor. So you owe me a motor. Good luck with that, Chevy. What question, Nick? I didn't see your question about E85. Any benefit to me putting an E85 sensor on my full bolt-on L70? Of course there is, man. You run more timing. E85, if you have access to E85, man, go for it. That is one of the cheapest mods that you can do. I too like to party. Yeah, man, startup idle airflow. Look at anything on your startup stuff, and see if it's cold, weather related. As I said, these things have a lot of different tables that it cycles through in the first 30 to 45 seconds. So, Geo, yes, we will be, obviously not this year, but there will be car events next year. So, keep your eyes peeled. Chevy for Life, it is a work night. So, I don't drink on school nights. Dirt floor is a man. Sounds good, David. Keep me posted, man. Good. I'm glad to hear it, Chevy. Nick, I am an automation programmer. My goal is to be around after the robots take everybody else out. Nick, there might be some information in those maps. You just have to check. Then find a platform with the same ECU, if possible, that had flex fuel from the factory, and that's a good starting point. The big ones are just getting the fueling differences in, like the stoic table adjustments, yada, yada, yada. The rest of it is spark tables, and you're just adding sparks. TJ, you could start your own channel on doing transmission tuning. I don't like doing transmission tuning. It's been years since I've really done much transmission tuning. Once I get it dialed in, I forget about it. John, you should do one of those LS setups that has like the pistons that are like 2-inch across and they're running like 16-to-1 compression ratio that are 9,000 RPMs or 10,000 RPMs. Make one of those screamer setups. Base airflow, Sean. Try the base airflow first. Might have to do something to the cranking VE. Cranking VE should be a percentage, though. Look at that one. It should all be ones, generally. Because that one, cranking VE, says how much air from your VE table to take in, generally. I thought you'd have a new girlfriend by this week. Gen Stuff 3 is great. No, Brandon, it won't hurt to raise it up ever so slightly. You can jack it up quite a bit, in fact. You'll start getting some pretty aggressive shifts. Dude, John, yes. Good luck finding a flat plane crank, but please make it happen. That would be sweet. Stuart wants to try tuning my stock 2015 Silverado. Can it be done without a wideband? Yes and no. I've got some videos out there. Stuart, look up the video on LTFTs. That's all. I'll dive into it. I highly suggest if you want to get into tuning, though, the next $150 you should be spending is on a wideband. What up, 9 My Cool? Welcome back, brother. Probably so, Michael. Yep. I know a couple people have already backed out tonight to go watch the Raiders game. So it's been a slow night, anyways. So yeah, that too, man. I'm struggling a little bit. Yeah, Sean, Cranky V table is straight 100, so keep that the same way. Good amount to add in the cold ranges. Yeah. No, I would do 5%. Start at 5%, see if it makes a difference. And on your setup, you should just be adding because you're going to have more airflow down there. Yeah, Smith, you can go in and divide those two tables by half. So they're not as aggressive, and then it will also make you have to hunt down the issue with the airflow stuff down at idle. And then whenever you do get it sorted out, it will just idle better. So you're a little bit late on that one, TJ. Chevy for life. Make a 5.3 pop through the exhaust while accelerating. Turn off DFCO. And dial back some of your timing advance off decel. You are correct, 92. Wideband is more important than the HP Tuners interface because a wideband will tell you if you need to tune. Ooh. That's not good, Smith Tuning. Hey, Bill, thanks for stopping by, bud. I appreciate it. Dylan, how do you hook up a wideband on my 2001 5.3? Depends on the wideband that you get, but if you have not gotten a wideband yet, get one that has serial out. That way you can use a serial to USB adapter. That's the easiest way. I suggest the AEM unit. You can find it in the description of all of my videos. Sweet. Dirt Floor says he's got my Tick Performance half-inch head stud fixture yesterday. I will be excited to check that thing out, man. MH, the MPV2 does offer wideband readings, but you have to pay, $150 for the Pro feature set, and that's all you get for the Pro feature set. So it's a ripoff right now. I highly suggest you save your money and go the serial route if you are in the market for a wideband sensor right now. Russ Todd, whenever doing open loop VE scanning, you want to be at operational temp. So there is some weird funky fuel stuff that can be going on before you hit operating temp on VE in particular. And so just be aware of that. What up, Lynn Twin? Welcome back. Yeah, thank you. Everybody, if you haven't, hit that thumbs up. I appreciate it. Man, got the questions rolling in here, man. We get down to the last 10 minutes of the show, and everybody's like, here are what we want to know. No, hey, Sean, just focus on the cold start area. Don't go too far, don't go all the way around across the table because that you're getting into the areas where you don't have issues. You don't want to make adjustments there. Sweet. Iho says he went snowmobiling on Thanksgiving in October. I don't know what that's about. But his first time ever. It is a blast. Hey, Hillary, you can go to the website, goatropegarage.com. There's a contact form at the bottom of it. You can send it to me through that. That's probably the easiest way. I'm going to say that the cheapest wideband that's going to be the best is the AEM unit that I talk about all the time. There are some that are cheaper, but we're only talking about $10 or $15 cheaper, so it is not worth saving your money to get one that is that much cheaper. So just keep that in mind. Let me see if I can find a link specifically to the one I'm talking about. See if I can blast you guys with some weird audio here. Advertisements. Here we go. Well, come on now. There you go. There's a link to the wideband that we use here. It's good. Has a serial output on it, so for the money, it's the best way to go. VJ asks, would the wideband work good in the rear O2 location or too far back? If there's cats, you definitely don't want to do it. And if there isn't cats, you can use it back there, but there's some chances that you may have some latency between your readings, which will make tuning a pain. I have not had a chance to hook up the AEM True Boost yet, Zero, because, as Straight Dumb pointed out, it did not work with the blow-off valve, so I need to get a wastegate. And unfortunately, I gave all of my wastegates away. Chevy says, Chevy for Life says, if the KPA isn't at... oh, thank you, Dirt Floor. First smoky burnout of the night. It's been a slow night. We're about to wrap it up. Thank you for the support. If your KPA isn't at 100 to 103, it's an intake restriction. That's going to be probably in your plenum. You know, it's not going to be your cylinder head. So it will be most likely from your throttle body out, Chevy for Life. If you are not getting to 100 at wide open throttle, your intake restriction is like your actual intake itself. Shouldn't be, if your heads were flowing more than your intake manifold, it could be an issue there too. But it gets a little bit wonky there. You got to think of it. If your heads are trying to flow, if you have an aggressive cam that actually has some decent scavenging on it, you may not hit that 100. But that's generally, it applies more to like throttle bodies and air intakes, like cold air intakes. Geo, I can try, man, but that's really hard to do without having one in front of me. But Lowbuck has a video out on that goes into the idle air control stuff, because he was having the same issue and we worked through it on his, getting his idle sorted out. Stuart, it doesn't really matter what bank the wideband is installed on. Twin Turbo Mustang. No, I haven't, man. There's just so many videos to make. See you, Michael. Have a good one. I still would like to do some Ford stuff. There's a laundry list of stuff. Thank you, John. And way to show up, Dirt Floor, with the extra penny on there. Smart ass. 9 Mike Cool, I don't have a preference. E38's a good one. E38's a good ECM to tune on if you're doing an L77. Brandon, you know, a guy like Dirt Floor would probably be able to tell you better than I would be able to. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it, brother. There you go. Fast Daddy's got an L77 with an E38. Dylan, you don't need to run your O2 while you are dialing in your stuff. You want to leave your factory O2s in there so you can go into closed loop, though. Sounds good, John. Thanks for stopping by. Tell your boss thanks for watching. We got 5 minutes here, guys. If I missed any of your questions, as always, I apologize. You can always put them in the comments after this video's over. The comments open up. We figured this out last weekend. Have a good night, Brother Brown. But as I said, we've got a lot of questions that have kind of scrolled by here, and you know me, I try to get to all of them, but the easiest way is if I've missed them, go ahead, throw them down in the comments after the video ends, or if you're a patron, by all means, send me an email from the Patreon, and I'll get to it that way. Andrew, what's going on, man? It's good to see you. Got your cam lined out. Thanks, Smith. Appreciate it, brother. Only issue is having going slow in a parking lot and then going wide open throttle, then lift. It will die every once in a while. What do I need to look at? Andrew, are you on a speed density only tune right now or a math only tune? Because you've got a transient issue where you're probably going very rich when you're letting off, would be my guess. No problem, man. It was Halloween. Appreciate it, Chevy. Thanks, Ricks. Have a good one. 92 LSC kit. Nobody's a Reliant Robin fan. Yeah, you should still be able to. Andrew, follow up with me on that. Let's look at a couple logs on that, because I would like to see if you could capture that in a log. I would like to see that. Dylan, the show is 8 Eastern every Thursday, and then sometimes we do a random show on the weekends. So just keep your eyes peeled or turn on notifications. That way you get a notification if we do the weekend show. But Chevy for Life, the hoodies I think are about $45. You can get to them by going to the Goat Rope Garage website. There will be a link to merch. Dirt Floor, you are always going to win. Because you're a baller. That's what they don't understand. They're trying to do a bid war with a baller. Oh, yeah, you guys want to see the back of it? I don't know. Can I get down low enough? Can you guys see that? Yeah, that's right. ABT. Always be tuning. Okay, guys, you know the drill. Thank you to all the new subscribers. We probably broke 6,000 literally while we were on this video again for the second time. Make sure and check out the link to Dirt Floor's channel. Hold on. Before anybody else gets out here, let me find it. Let me find the link to Dirt Floor's channel. Got to go show him some love too, because he is my main man moderator. Helps me out. He's a boss. Copy that link address here. Let's throw it in here. Dirt Floor, thank you as always, brother. Go check it out. If you, for some reason, have not subscribed to Dirt Floor, drop that subscription to Dirt Floor. Where are you up to, Dirt Floor? Where are you at? You were just about to break 1,000 last time I looked. You're at 970. Man, we got to get you over 970, brother. We got to get you over 1,000. I just lost. I clicked this thing in the wrong window. I lost the chat window, guys, so I can't really see what you're saying. Okay, listen. Thank you, patrons. Thank you, subscribers. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for the support. Make sure and come back next Thursday. There's going to be some videos coming out this weekend. We're going to look at some stuff. Remember, if you had any questions that we didn't get to tonight, drop them down in the description after this. Thank you for stopping by the garage. ABT, always be tuning. Go check out the sweet merch. Man, this thing's so soft. It's so soft. You guys will not regret it. So.